According to spoilers for Young and the Restless, during the week of June 7 to 11, Summer Newman, Hunter King, attempts to become close to her assumed stepson. However, given everything that is going on in the little boy's life on the CBS soap opera, things between her and Harrison Locke, Kellen Enriquez, could not work out. Additionally, Amanda Sinclair, Michelle Morgan, is questioned by Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, on her relationship to the Ames/Benedict family. There is a lot going on in Summer Newman's life. She is an adult though. Harrison Locke's life is in disarray in contrast. He left New York City with his mother, Tara Locke, Elizabeth Liner. His parents are not together and are on the verge of getting divorced. The most significant thing, however, is that Harrison got to meet his biological father, who happens to be Summer's fiancé. That is a lot for a 4-year-old to accomplish in such a short amount of time. Summer makes an effort to be empathetic, but she finds it difficult. Everyone on Young and the Restless will continue to face challenges. Next week, Summer Newman will spend time with her fiancé's son. The child would get even more puzzled as a result of this latest complication. Therefore, it's still unclear how Summer fits into the young child's existence. After the Skyle wedding, Summer would become his stepmother. Harrison recently learned that he has 2 fathers. He now has to deal with Summer and his mother attempting to share the role of mother. According to Young and the Restless spoilers, Summer Newman wants to get close to Harrison, expecting the young child to comprehend all of the changes occurring in his life. However, appears to be a formula for catastrophe. Summer's relationship with Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, may experience additional issues if her attempts to connect with Harrison don't work out. And, as the information from Young and the Restless implies, be one more cause for the attractive blonde to leave town. Joshua Morrow's character Nick Newman is presented with a fresh business prospect. He will collaborate on a Newman Media, New Hope joint venture with his father, Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, and half-brother, Adam Newman, Mark Grossman. According to reports from Young and the Restless, Nick consults Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, before making a choice. Then he responds in the affirmative. But when Michelle Stafford's character Phyllis Summers finds out that he accepted, she has a lot to say. Adam didn't change his spots, in her opinion. She had already cautioned the man about abusing Nick's generosity. The couple will dispute about what the appropriate course of action is in light of this new revelation. However, Nick had already informed his brother and father that he was fully committed to Young and the Restless by that point. Since Nick's relationships with them typically end tragically, Phyllis doesn't want him to partner with them. Nick, though, appears prepared to pardon his brother. He is aware that seeing them collaborate is his father's ambition. Will Nick follow his lover's suggestion and end the relationship? Or will he move forward and continue to cooperate with them? Watch the soap opera as this plot unfolds in Genoa City. According to recent I&R spoilers, Ray Rosales, Jordi Villasuso, and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, plan a second honeymoon. The pair will visit Ray's family in Miami. It was only recently that they were reunited. As a result, the trip will provide them with the privacy they require to re-establish their marriage. Shay has to get out of town in order to start their future together. Being apart from home, though, might not be sufficient to strengthen their relationship. According to Young and the Restless's summer previews, Sharon and Adam Newman will keep fighting the bond that appears to bind them together. There is no denying their relationship, but according to Young and the Restless rumors, Shay will stay stable all summer long. Therefore, whatever that occurs between Sharon and Adam won't be sufficient to break up the married couple. Watch as Genoa City gets ready for this future. Ashlyn Locke, Richard Berge, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heil, have had a difficult time falling in love lately on Young and the Restless. Ash is going through a difficult custody dispute and divorce. Additionally, he recently discovered that the boy he has raised since infancy is not his son. Additionally, Victoria has spent months yearning for her ex-husband. However, Billy Abbott, played by Jason Thompson, moved in with Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, his new girlfriend. The last nail in the coffin of any chance for reconciliation is this. The female CEO will now have a greater understanding of Ash. They will try to lift each other's spirits while sharing their suffering. They might be GC's next power couple, according to recent Young and the Restless news. However, it might be some time before that happens. But as they get closer, they will spend time together the following week. In the upcoming months, might this be the start of something extraordinary? According to Vi&R updates, Victor begins to suspect Amanda Sinclair. He suspected something was wrong when she initially began to inquire about the case of Sutton Ames, Jack Landron. When he began discussing her father's hunt for his missing child, he grew even more agitated. But Victor suspected something more was going on when he witnessed her odd reaction. Victor will now question Amanda about her specific relationship to Sutton Ames. The attractive lawyer has vowed to keep her ties to the Ames and Benedict families a secret. However, that can be challenging. On Young and the Restless, Victor dislikes being teased. A change of topic or an evasive response will only catch his attention. Therefore, if Amanda wishes to conceal the truth, she will need to think quickly. According to Young and the Restless, Amanda just discovered startling new information that alters her viewpoint on the case. Her father's quest for his ex-girlfriend and their children may have contributed to his death. On Young and the Restless, Amanda might not be able to conceal her ancestry for very long. She can choose to tell the mustache about the situation and ask for his assistance. As Summer tries to build a relationship with her fiancé's son, the week of June 7 to 11 on the soap opera is expected to be very busy. Additionally, Amanda attempts to sidestep Victor's Young and the Restless query. In addition, Summer Newman makes a concerted effort to be included in the Vi&R equation. However, Summer feels less involved in her fiancé's evolving life, the more she sees him with his infant son and mother. Watch to find out what occurs next. The Young and the Restless will have a tense emotional battle, shaky alliances, and an intensifying storm surrounding the Abbott family during the week of June 7 to 11. The stakes surrounding Harrison are only going to get higher as Kyle and Summer's every action is shaped by simmering emotions. Unexpected challenges, shifting allegiances, and buried fears start to surface throughout Genoa City as Summer Newman tries to strengthen her relationship with her stepson. In a week full of heartache and hope, these early spoilers show how love, fear, ambition, and unresolved scars collide. 1. Summer Newman takes the first step. A gentle attempt to bond with Harrison, finding her place in Harrison's life, has been one of Summer's greatest emotional challenges during her relationship with Kyle. Kyle's world revolves on the child, and Summer understands that developing a deep, affectionate relationship with him is essential to the future of their family. She embarks on that journey this week with a fresh sense of resolve. Summer picks times to spend time with Harrison alone, rather than retreating or depending on Kyle's company. She provides gentle, stress-free opportunity to get to know his habits, conveniences, and peculiarities. Her wish to establish a connection via patience, rather than expectation, is shown in these modest actions, whether they be during playing, quiet activities, or times when she just listens and watches. However, Summer realizes more and more how emotionally complex the problem is as she works through this delicate process. From Tara to Ashlyn to Kyle, from sudden separations to heartbreaking reunions, Harrison has experienced continuous change. When Summer notices the child's vulnerability behind her happy exterior, she feels a protective instinct that even surprises her. Warmth flickers from her efforts. Harrison starts answering with trust, curiosity, and the naive openness that comes effortlessly to him. Although the past is not erased by these initial actions, they do open up possibilities for the future, which Summer is very much hoping to be a part of. However, tenderness is just one aspect of the situation. The shadows around the Abbott house start to change as Summer embraces this new era. 2. As Summer gives her all to form a link with Harrison, Kyle Abbott struggles with feelings of guilt and fear as a father torn between the past and the future. He values Summer's role as a partner who has supported him through upheaval, heartache, and betrayal, and he wants her to feel completely embraced in their family. Kyle harbors remorse though, remorse for his own transgressions, remorse for Harrison's suffering, and remorse for the burden that previous scandals placed on Summer. He fears that he is asking too much of Summer when he observes her making such a sincere effort. He starts to feel the strain of juggling expectations from his family, motherhood, and love. His thoughts go over questions he seldom expresses, such as if Harrison's emotional wounds can heal, Whether Summer will genuinely feel satisfied in this dynamic, and whether this delicate balance can withstand the uncertainty that hovers over them all the time. The week goes on, and Kyle's internal conflict intensifies. He feels relieved whenever Summer and Harrison make progress, but he fears that history will repeat itself with every small setback. There is an uneasy feeling in the air, a hint that their difficulties are far from ended. His intuition is correct. He might be unaware of the danger that lurks just beyond the Abbott mansion. 3. Victor Newman pays close attention to what his children and grandchildren create. Victor Newman has always kept a careful watch on what his children and grandchildren create for themselves. Victor is naturally drawn to Summer's adventure with Kyle, particularly because a child is involved. He observes the Abbott-Newman family dynamic this week with a mix of strategic curiosity and protectiveness. Victor admires Summer's perseverance as he observes her making a concerted effort to establish herself with Harrison. However, he is also aware of the potential weaknesses, including Kyle's emotional vulnerability, the strain of co-parenting, and the persistent danger of outside influences. From Victor's perspective, the scenario is like a chessboard with erratic pieces. He examines possible dangers, such as the potential for Tara to re-emerge or the issues brought on by Diane's persistent presence. Quietly, Victor determines if Summer is entering a life that will either offer her long-term happiness or long-term disaster. Behind his composed exterior, Victor starts making preparations in silence. Summer will take action in ways only he can if anything jeopardizes his emotional stability. He has unparalleled influence in Genoa City, and this plot might pull him in more ways than anyone anticipated. As Summer concentrates on developing a relationship with Harrison, Victor muses on the larger picture and what actions could be required to safeguard his granddaughter's future. 4. Diane Jenkins detects changes, and that spurs instinctive defensiveness and jealousy. Diane, who is extremely protective of her son and her grandson, observes the changes taking place beneath her roof. An innate tension that Summer finds difficult to conceal is triggered when she spends more time with Harrison. Diane recalls the heartache, the moves, and the strained family dynamic that followed the last time Summer played a significant role in Harrison's life. Diane's concerns this week show themselves as subtle, pointed behaviors rather than overt conflict. She starts to pay close attention to Summer's interactions with Harrison. She scrutinizes, watches, and silently assesses every moment, whether or not the worry is warranted. Diane believes Harrison has already through enough. His delicate emotional equilibrium is threatened by every change, even a good one. Love is the source of her concerns, but they turn into insecurity and possessiveness. Diane senses the earth shifting beneath her as Summer becomes more at ease in her job. She questions if Summer's participation will make her own role in Harrison's life less important. In addition, Diane feels as though Tara might reappear, which further complicates her already complex feelings. Even if nothing is spoken, Summer starts to sense the weight of her excessive attention to detail in the Abbott household. 5. As Summer spends quality time with Harrison, she begins to pick up on little things that Kyle and Diane have missed, which leads to the emergence of a mysterious trigger and indications that Harrison is concealing something painful. Beneath the child's friendly grins and lively playfulness, there are times when he abruptly distances himself, becomes silent for no apparent reason, or hesitates in everyday circumstances. Even though these actions are minor, Summer can definitely perceive them. As someone who is still getting to know the rhythms of his personality, her new viewpoint enables her to recognize what his closest friends and family may have normalized. This turns into one of the most significant plot points throughout the week of June 7 to 11, the indications that Harrison may be clinging to an unresolved memory, fear, or emotional trigger. Perhaps it has to do with his history with Tara.